If this were a normal day, I would be on the Raleigh campus of New River, Zooming and teaching face-to-face this class in room 134. But this is a declared snow day by New River, and there are no face-to-face classes on campus. The problem is that the schedule for this course is very tight. And if we miss one class, that makes accomplishing our goals that much more difficult. So instead of adjusting the syllabus to meet the weather conditions, I'm Zooming from home so that we don't miss a class. Most of the students in this class are web-based anyway. One student was originally signed up as traditional face-to-face. But since the video will be posted in Brightspace, then everybody will get to see it. And it's about, I need to do another walkthrough of the Brightspace course, because the last time I did it was a couple of years ago and things have changed a little bit. So let's get on with the introduction. And after the introduction, I'm going to do chapter 1 of the textbook, which is rather short, so it won't take much time. And this class runs from 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock. So we've got 2 hours to do this. So first thing I want to do is show you where to find the course in Brightspace. You probably already have done that. If you would zoom into the course, then you would do it through the Brightspace link. But just to be thorough, let me share my browser, which is right here. There we go. So that's what my home page looks like. And what I want to do is switch over to make it look like it would for you as a student. Right, this is the landing page, and that welcome, you can see, is a couple of years old. But there's also an important item here that you need to note, is that first of all, the course modality is changed to HiFlex, which is our modality term for hybrid flexible. So a better way to think about it is, if you're registered for this course now, you can take it face-to-face in room 134 at this time every Tuesday and Thursday. Or you can zoom in and attend the class, or you can be completely online, web-based. Any three of those modalities will work. Also, I've been asked to emphasize this problem that we've had semester after semester, is students being dropped for non-payment. So you need to have some money, some arrangements made with the business office so that they know that you're going to pay for the course, or the course is going to be paid for somehow. So you need to make arrangements with the business office. If it's out of pocket, then you need a minimum here of $200 in your account before Friday the 19th, because the drop day is on the 22nd, following Monday, I would think. That's just to keep people from being dropped and having to pay and being reinstated. That's just a mess to deal with. So if you need more information, call the business office, or connect to this video. Just Control-click, and it will open that video and explain the drop for non-payment situation. Okay, to get into the course, if you are on the landing page and you're looking for the course, you can get it from this waffle. or you can get it, scroll down and you can get it from down here. All of your courses will be listed there. This is called the mini bar, right? And if you've gone to new student orientation, you will have been introduced to all of these things, but I'll just point some things out. If we have assignments, they'll be here, right? So you can find your assignments there. In fact, I only have 2 assignments. And there's a difference between, in Brightspace, there's a difference between assignment and quizzes, which we normally call exams. The assignments for this course are just 2 extra credits, right? And they're also linked in the body of the course itself, and we'll get there eventually. But this is where you can also find them, these extra credits. Their due dates, and if you have a copy of the syllabus, you'll find a schedule in there of the class that tells you every date that we're going to meet, every date when there's something due. So that syllabus and the schedule, they're your 2 best friends. All right, so if you want to contact anybody in the class, go to the class list, and there's everybody in the class. So you could broadcast an email if you want to send, or you can just send one to me and just click the email, and it'll allow you to compose an email and send it to me. You don't have to look through the directory to find my email, or you don't have to type it in. And any correspondence with me should be conducted using the New River email account that's given you when you register. All right, so there's your class list. I'll come back to content in a minute. Discussion, grades, quizzes. Oh, if you want to find your grades, here's where you look. And of course, there are no grades in there now because I haven't taken any of these. These are homework, right? All these chapter. EOC stands for end of chapter. Chapter 1 is slightly different. There are only a couple of questions in that one. But the rest of them are end of chapter problems, and you'll find those at the end of each chapter. Find all of them. But I've selected only a few for you to do for homework. And we'll talk about how you access your homework in just a minute. There are your assignments. You would see your extra credits there. And here are all the tests. Now, under tests, there are those that are graded and apply to your course average, and those that are graded and don't apply. Those I call reviews. These reviews are in there so that you can drill yourself on the material that's in the course, and they're set up chapter by chapter and easy, moderate, difficult. So take your pick. And you can take these reviews over and over and over again, and when it grades them, it'll tell you which ones you missed so you can focus on your problem areas. These guys here are exams. And you'll notice, and we'll talk about it in just a few minutes, if you're not familiar with Respondus Monitor and Lockdown Browser, I'll show you how to access those. I would make the point that the first test that you take is this practice test, and it's simply there for you to test your equipment and be sure that you know the procedure so that you don't stumble around on your first exam and waste time. So once you've taken this practice test, then exam 1 will be available. But until you take the practice test, exam 1 will not open. All right, so let's go back to, let's see, quizzes. You can access Zoom here if you want. If you click Zoom, then you have all the classes, and you can see by the days. Today, they all have the same meeting ID, but you just click on it, and it links your computer to the Zoom class if you want to Zoom in on Tuesdays or Thursdays at these times. Okay, let's go back. Let's see, close that, go back here. Okay, everything you need in this course is right here under content. So I click on content, eventually it'll come up. There we go. Okay, Now, what it's going to do is it's going to come up and show you the last page you visited when you closed out. So if you want to start from table of contents, just go over here on the left-hand side, click table of contents, and there it is. And there's several things here that will that are useful. I've got a little blurb tells you who I am. Video resources, those are things that the administration puts in there for us. Here's a course tour. This course tour is dated. It's a couple of years old. So what I may do is substitute part of what we're discussing today in the course tour and just replace that video. Course schedules and due dates. I'm not sure if this one is current. No, this is not current. That's a mistake. I need to fix that. But notice the breadcrumbs at the top, right? If you want to go backwards, here we go. Start here. Right? So now the page changes because we're not table of contents anymore. There's table of contents. This course schedule table is current. Right? And what I did was I extracted that from the syllabus and put it here so that you don't have to open up the syllabus to see the schedule. Right? So here's the schedule, and here's the day, Tuesday the 16th. We're doing class business, and then we're going to look at chapter 1 afterwards. You'll also notice up here the course times, the room that we normally meet in if you're face-to-face. Here's your Zoom connection. Now, you only need that one. You can use this Zoom connection, or you can zoom in through the link in the course. But if you're zooming from a remote device like your phone, you can open up your Zoom app. You have to load the app. You have to install the app on your phone or your tablet. And then you can open up the Zoom app and it'll ask you for an ID to join the meeting. And there's the ID. And then you'll have a passcode. That's just to keep bad actors out of the course. And it'll ask you for the passcode, and there it is. You put those two in, and you can zoom into the meeting from any location where you can get an internet connection or a cell phone connection. As long as you've got data in your plan, you can connect. You'll notice here that I've highlighted, so to speak, changed the background color. These are the Tuesday and Thursday dates. So these are the dates that we would be meeting. If you're face-to-face, you would come to class on those dates. And the rest of the dates are just other dates of the week. If you're web-based, then the course schedule is there to keep you paced. And it tells you when things are due. So your homework for chapter 1, 2, 3 will be due on January 25th at 11:59 or midnight. And exam 1 is also due on that date. Right? We'll talk about homework and exams in a minute. We'll get into that. But there's every day in the course. It shows you, sometimes I put in there non-course related information. For instance, here's spring break, right? These dates are spring break, right? We won't meet face to face, and I won't have office hours that week either. Mid-semester grades are due on this date, Monday, the 11th of March. Let's see, I've got another date down here. Last day of classes, of course, final exam on that date, and the final grades are due on the 13th May. Okay, so there's your schedule. Let's see, here's your syllabus. So if you open the syllabus, there you have a PDF file. Now, in order to access PDF files, you need a PDF reader, right? Acrobat has a free reader that you can get if you don't already have a copy. Just click over here on this module, and you have access to a couple of different readers. Right? This will take you to the Acrobat, the Adobe website. This is an alternate PDF reader. But let's go back to now. instead of going to table of contents, I'm going to start here. Now, everything is there. If it's expanded and kind of busy, just click collapse all, and it'll collapse everything, and then you can open it as you wish with this right-hand caret. So let's see. Okay, here's the syllabus. Let's go to the syllabus again. Right, there's your syllabus document. We'll come back to that in a second. This is my schedule. Right, this will tell you as soon as it opens. There we go. This will tell you where I am at every day of the every day of the week. Right? So I'm in class here. I'm in class here with you. I have an afternoon class there plus the lab, and I have an afternoon class there, and these guys are office hours. So if you need to connect with me during my office hours, you can either come to room 129 on these 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, or you can Zoom. I only have Zoom hours on Monday from 3 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So that gives you some evening hours also, early evening. On Fridays, I'm completely out of pocket. I'm out of town at a different college. So that just shows you that you can't get me on those days. What you can do is, if these office hours don't match your schedule and you need me, then contact me by my cell phone. I'll show you where that is, or my email, or my office phone number, and leave a message, or text me on my phone, and I'll get back with you. We can set up a private session if you need it. And those are usually Zoom meetings, but if I'm in my office, you can come by there too. Okay, so there's my schedule. And if you need to connect with me office hours, here's my my personal Zoom account. Right, that's the one you would use to Zoom during office hours. All right, so let's back up here. Go back to syllabus. Okay, and oh, here's another link to my office hours. I've placed that in here for convenience. Right, so if you click on that, then it would allow you to open a Zoom meeting. And if it's during my office hours, or if we have set up a special time, then click on this link and you can Zoom into a meeting with me for a tutorial. All right, I'm going to close that because I can't have 2 Zoom sessions going at the same time. All right. Okay, there's our course schedule again. There's readers, self-help. I put some useful links in here. Khan Academy is really good, right? If you need help on specific topics, then Khan Academy will give you another a viewpoint on a subject, right? If you're trying to learn it from the textbook or from me, it just may not click. So get somebody else to describe, and it may work for you. Here's some others, but I would start with Khan Academy. Let's see. Odds and ends, I'm not sure what I put in here. You don't need to bother with that unless you're just interested. All right. These are links to videos that Cengage, the publisher of your textbook, and the administrator of your homework, has placed in here for your edification. This tells you how to register, and in fact, I'll show you how to do that. How to complete assignments. If you need to draw a structure, chemical structure, to answer a question in homework, then you'll need to use CHEM100, and this is a tutorial on using CHEM100. Okay, that Cengage has, let's see, there's your contact for Cengage. If you can't get satisfaction on your homework or accessing your electronic textbook in Cengage, then this is your contact, John Sayall. They also have office hours, and I thought I put the office hours in here. That's another correction I need to make. Here's where you register for your homework. Right? Let's see. Go here, click on this one, and don't register for homework. You have to purchase Cengage Unlimited, and that's in the syllabus. I'll show you that. Plus, it's in the bookstore. You don't need a physical hardback copy of your textbook unless you just want one. And if you want a hard copy, you can buy an earlier edition and it will suffice. But if you have Cengage Unlimited, then you have access to your homework, plus you have access to the electronic copy of the textbook. And the nice thing about that is you can search it. So if you click on this, since it thinks I'm a student, so it's probably going to give me some guff. So click to open your content. And all right, you're going to have to, if you don't already have a Cengage account, right? If you have another course that you're taking and you've purchased Cengage Unlimited for that course, then you won't have to buy it again for this course. One account will suffice. Then all you need to do is log in. But if you're not logged in, then you'll need to register. And it'll walk you through the registration. You'll have, when you purchase your Cengage Unlimited, you should get an authorization code. And they'll ask you for that. Plus, do all your business with me, Brightspace, and Cengage using your school email account. You are linked through Brightspace, and Cengage knows that when you enter through this portal that you are an enrolled student in this course, and you're entitled to the Cengage homework and textbook. All right, so let's go back. Let's see, I'm going to go back to, let's see, homework registration. Now, once you've registered, then you can get to your homework with this link. You'll just have to find the chapter homework that you need. And all the homeworks that are graded are identified in the title with a graded suffix. If it doesn't say graded, then any other things that you do in Cengage are for your benefit only. They won't be graded. Only if it says graded will that affect your overall average. All right. Here we go. Cengage office hours for troubleshooting. I thought I had put it in there. Well, it's not showing up. Registration help. Here we go. Yes. Okay, so there's your contact. And if you have trouble registering, if you have any kind of trouble with Cengage, they have set up office hours at the beginning of the semester. So during these times, today through Friday, the 16th, let's see, February the 16th. So they're for a whole month on these days, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 12 to 2, and Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 3, click on this link and it will connect you with tech support at Cengage. And they can help you with any problems that you're having with registration. All right. So let me see. Let's go down. Here's a direct connection to your ebook. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. This connects you with the ebook. And here's also, let's see, solutions manual. Yeah, for some of the problems, I believe. This is the one you want to go to you can get to your ebook just going into Cengage, but this is a separate connection, a separate link, which simplifies the process. Okay, here's where you connect with Zoom class meetings if you're inside the course. All right, so just go there, click on this, and it will automatically take you to the meeting that's scheduled for that day. Now, if you're completely web-based, then you can ignore this. If you're never going to use it, then you don't need it. Here's your link to the practice test that I mentioned earlier. Link on this and go to the practice test here. We go, and it will open up here. And since, let's see, yes. In other words, if you already have Lockdown Browser installed on your computer, then you can go launch Lockdown Browser. If you don't, then all you have to do is click on this link, and it will walk you through installation of Lockdown Browser on your computer. And from time to time, they will have updates. And if you click on Launch Lockdown Browser and you need an update, it will force you to update your Lockdown Browser before you can start the exam. So take this test, and when you complete it, the system knows that you've completed that, and exam 1 will open up when you're ready for it. I'm not going to start it now because it would, because I'm not a student. I'm masquerading as a student, but I'm not a student. So I'm not sure what it'll do, and we don't have time to mess with that. Okay, so let's go back and see what else we've got. All right, those are all the preliminaries that you need to work the course. The separate modules set aside for each exam, right? There are 9 exams here. Module 1 is all the material that you'll need for exam 1. Right? So here are objectives. If you want to take a look at those. Here are the periodic tables. This is the periodic table. We don't get into the periodic table until the second, let's see. Yeah, until chapter 4. But it may be helpful for you to start working with the periodic table now. In fact, I'm going to have you memorize a number of the symbols for the elements in the periodic table. And if it takes you time, right, you want to get started early. So I'll talk about that again in a minute. But this is, I'm not sure if this, let me click on this and see if this is the one I think it is. Yes. Okay. So this periodic table will show you which ones I want you to memorize in the red boxes. Right. So that's a red box there, several here, a couple there, a bunch here. Right. And in order to know what those symbols mean, you got to look them up. Right. So there are a couple down here. So the best way to do that, I'll just go ahead and tell you, is get some 3x5 index cards, write the symbol on one side, flip it over, and write the name of the element on the other side, and then drill those, right, until you can do them in your sleep. About half of the 118 elements in the periodic table I want you to memorize, roughly a half. So you need to know those symbols because this is the vocabulary. This is the alphabet for chemistry. If you don't know your ABCs, then you can't go any further. All right, so start memorizing those now, and we'll get to those in chapter 4. All right, so let's go back to module 1. Okay, so in every module, you'll have a set of slides for the chapters that are covered for that exam. For exam 1, we have chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. So if we open this module here, we find the PowerPoint slides for that module. And this is, if you have Microsoft Office, then you can open this PowerPoint slide set. Probably have to download it first. And you can follow. It has all the slides, all the animations, everything you'll need. If you're not where you can use PowerPoint in Microsoft Office, then you can open the PDF file and it'll show you all the slides. The difference is you won't have the videos or the animations included. So to get around that, I've taken the PowerPoint slide set and created an HTML5 format, which means you can load it inside your browser. This is the language that browsers use. So let me just click on this and show you what it'll look like. Okay, there you go. So you're going to see your slides like that, and then you can go slide by slide like that. You'll see those again in a few minutes. And there are all your animations. I just click those. Come on. Uh-oh. That's not a good sign. Okay, I may have to modify this one to make it work. Yeah, it's I think there's a problem with the font. Okay, it's a good thing I tried this because now I know that I've got a problem I need to deal with. Okay, so eventually we'll get that fixed. All right, so let's go back to, let's see, module 1. And in each one of these chapter modules, you have the PowerPoint slides. Then you'll have a recorded video. What I will do is I will replace this video with a more current one. See, this one's 2023. So I'll replace this video with today's video. And I'll move this one into archives down here, archive videos. So here are all the videos that I've recorded for this course since I started doing that. But you'll have, this one will be roughly the same material. Okay, then you get to chapter 2, you're going to have the same PowerPoint slides. You're going to have the lecture video. Chapter 3, you're going to have a lecture video. Let's see if I've got the same problem with this other chapter. Curious, do I need to fix all of them? Okay, there's chapter 3. Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to redo all these HTML5s, I think. Bummer. Okay, so let's get on with it. As long as you have PowerPoint, I wonder if I need to check this one too. Okay, that one seems to be okay. And you can download it and watch it on your home computer. All you have to do is click this download. Right? And then you've got the PowerPoint slide set. Okay, let me go back. And we were down to, let's see, where were we? Yeah, there we go. Chapter 3. And then face-to-face class, I always do a review. Right? So review for exam 1 covers chapters 1, 2, and 3. And I did that one in this case in 2023. And what these links do is they take you to my YouTube channel. Right? So I don't store these in Brightspace. There's not enough room. So these links take you to my Brightspace, my YouTube channel. And there you go. You'll have to endure commercials though. So you wanted to know a little bit about the, okay. So there's the review. All right, let's go back. And if you were in the face-to-face class, you'd be getting this in person. Okay, so what happens after the review? Well, here's the homework connection. Should be able to click on this and take you straight to that particular chapter's homework once you've registered. I'm not sure if it'll do it. I'll try. I'll see if it works with me. No, it still thinks I'm a student, so it's not going to let me log in. All right, but it should take you straight to the homework, Module 1 homework. Okay. Let's see. I better go back another. Let's go back to table of contents. Okay, come on. Here we go. And let's go down Module 1 again. All these modules are set up exactly the same. So once you've got your homework, that's where you do your homework, archive videos. Here are your practice tests, right, for reviewing the topics. I've got for chapter 1, 2, and 3. I put in there whatever is available. And then here's your exam. Now, the exam's not open yet because I haven't taken the practice test. Right? Once the practice test is completed, then the exam link will open up and you can take the test like we did earlier, going into Brightspace and Lockdown Browser. But this, you'll want to open this in every case, you'll have useful information. So what you want to do is open that up. Now, Lockdown Browser is going to disable this feature. So what you want to do is print a copy. Print a copy of the useful information and keep it with you. That's permissible. So that it will help you with taking the exam. And then when you go into an exam, you won't have access to that, but you'll have a printed copy. Okay. And every exam will have useful information that you can make a copy of. All right. So every one of these modules is going to look the same. It'll be built the same way. Here's module 2, right? The module 2 is going to have a slight difference because this is where extra credits kick in. Learn these element symbols, all right? I already showed you that one. This is another copy, so that it'll tell you which symbols to learn. Let's see. Here's naming compounds optional handout. Right? Go in there and look that over. Homework, archive videos, practice tests, exam 2. Here are extra credits. These extra credits are only in this chapter. And these are the only extra credit exercises that I give you for the semester. But if you complete both of them, the grade that you get on these two combined, the average grade of these two is worth 1/2 of an exam grade. So they can be very useful. And they're due on the same day as exam 2 is due. Right? So what you would do is you would click on one, right? And then here's the PDF file. You would download that PDF file. Click on that. It's going to pop up here. And this shows you what it looks like, but you need to download it so that you can complete it. Download is right up here on this down arrow, right? These are instructions on how to fill out this blank periodic table. All right. Use colored pencils. They work the best. Crayons are a little messy. Ink is difficult to find all these colors, probably. Colored pencils will work best. So this tells you what you need to do to complete the periodic table. Now, once you get it finished, then you need to scan it if you have a scanner at home, or use your cell phone and take a picture of each page. And then you need somehow to get those image files back over here where you first encountered the extra credit, and you go to upload, right? Click on upload, and it's going to ask you, where are those image files? Or if you have the capability, you can combine those image files into a PDF file if you know how to do that. But image files will work. And then you look for your image files and open them here. You can click on more than one. Just say click and then control and click the others, and they'll all be uploaded at the same time. Right? So then that would upload them and you're done. And then all I have to do then is get around to grading them, and then you will see the grade in your grade book. Once you see it in the grade book, then you should also have a link to the graded document. I also upload the graded document so that you can see where you made mistakes and how you got the score that you did. All right. Since there are no extra credits anywhere else, the rest of the modules are going to look exactly like Module 1, right? You have 9 modules all the way down to Chapter 18. Okay, let me collapse that. Let's get too busy. Okay, notice that there's no final exam. You just have, oh, wait a minute, there is a final exam. I'm sorry. Where is the final exam? Supposed to have a final exam here. Okay, I'm missing it. All right, there'll be another module here loaded for final exam. I was just checking the schedule. Yes, you do have a final exam, and it's comprehensive. So it'll cover everything that you covered before. It should have a link to the exam. It should also have a final exam review, a video review. All right, so maybe I need to make a list of things to do with this course. Okay, CHEM100. Let's see, where were my first mistakes? Course 2 syllabus. Okay, no, that's all right. Practice test is fine. Okay, so my first problem was, I remember now. It was HTMLs. I'm going to have to redo the HTMLs. And final exam module. It's very possible that the final exam module didn't get copied over from Brightspace. When I copy it from one course to another, Brightspace is notorious about missing stuff and just dumping it or losing links. It's notorious for that. Okay, so there it is. Now, let's go back to the syllabus. All right, here's the syllabus. All right. Now, you can download that. If you come to class, I'll give you a hard copy. But if you don't, you can download it. Let's see, where's your download? Here it is, download, right here. Download a copy. Or you can just view it here if you want. Right? And all the syllabi from every course you take will have this similar look to it. Right? It'll have the name of the course and the CRN number. And it'll have all this information. Here's my personal information. There's my email address. There's my office. There's my office phone. If you call my office phone and I'm not there, then it will accept a voicemail, and the voicemail will be converted into an attachment to my email, and it'll send me that voicemail. So I'll get it pretty quick, probably within an hour or two. and I can respond that way. If you want me quicker, then there's my cell phone. And all you have to do with the cell phone, the best way with my cell phone is is to text me. Then I'm not distracted if I happen to be driving. Here are my office hours, right? And course description. Particulars for the meeting if you come face to face. Here's the connection for the Zoom class right there. And here are the particulars on your textbook. Notice that if you're only going to take this class or any other Cengage class for one semester, any Cengage textbook classes, if you buy one semester, it'll cost you $162.49, or your financial support, your financial aid, whatever allowance you get for that. And that'll cover 4 months. If you're going to take this course and another Cengage course within the next year, then it's more cost effective to buy this one at $244.99. And then you have access to Cengage for a whole year. If you want to get a hard copy, here are the particulars on the textbook for your hard copy. Right there's the deal. Right. It hadn't been updated since 2018. I'm still using the 9th edition. There might be a more recent edition, but I'm happy with the 9th. You could get an 8th edition. It would work just fine, and probably won't cost you a few dollars. If you want to rent, or if you want a hard copy just for the semester, then Cengage will send you a hard copy for a shipping fee, $4, $5, something like that, and you can keep it for a semester and send it back. All right, this stuff, course learning outcomes, general education, those are mandatory. We have to put those in there. You'll want to pay attention to this one, your grading scheme. All those 9 chapter exams are worth 65% of your grade. The final exam is worth 15%, which is about worth 2 chapter exams. And your homework is worth 20%. There are penalties if you're late, right? 1% per day, just to encourage you to stay up. It's not just to be mean, it's to tell you that if you don't keep up with the course, then you're going to fall so far behind you'll never catch up. And chemistry is one of those courses where later material depends heavily upon earlier material. So you need to master as best you can earlier chapters so that the later chapters are doable. Otherwise, you'll be in serious trouble. This is the administrative withdrawal procedure. If you're more than 2 weeks behind on your assignments, if you're web-based, or if this were a traditional class and only face-to-face, then if you missed meetings for 2 consecutive weeks and you didn't contact me to let me know what was wrong and make arrangements, then I would tell the registrar through our monitoring system, DropGuard, that you've been absent for 2 weeks with no contact, and the registrar would drop you from the course. And you would have to jump through hoops. If you were able to explain your way out of it, you might be able to get reinstated, but it would take some effort. The best thing to do is to keep in touch with me every week by either, if you're web-based, by doing your assignments that are due that week, or showing up for class or zooming into class, some way to let me know that you're still there. Okay, academic integrity, dishonesty, disability services, all these are school policies. Other materials that you're going to need. You will need a calculator, a scientific calculator. If you don't have one, spend $10 at Walmart and buy one. I put the particulars down here for the scientific calculator, but if the package says scientific on it, you will have everything you need. All right, so get a calculator and learn how to use it, right? It's not my job to teach you how to use the calculator. Read the instructions, do whatever. Now, during exams, I mean, any other time, you could use calculators that are built into your telephone, right, your smartphone. But on exams, you don't have access to your cell phone. They are forbidden on exams. Cell phones are just way too smart, right? Cheating is a temptation that I don't want to impose upon you. So no cell phones during exams. So get a calculator and learn how to use it, because that's your only calculator that you'll have on exams. Well, actually, that's not true. I've set up the exam so that when you're in Lockdown Browser, there is a calculator app that's built into Lockdown Browser that you can use. So if you can't find your calculator, don't have one, and you're taking an exam and you need a scientific calculator, there's one there for you in the Lockdown Browser. Okay. Right. If you're gonna take exams, and you're going to Zoom the class, you're going to need a web camera and a microphone. If you have a laptop, within the last 10 years probably, it's got a built-in camera and a built-in microphone. That's no problem. If you prefer your desktop, then you may have to purchase, or if you don't already have one, a webcam and a microphone. I'm using a Logitech Brio on my computer. Let's see. All other materials that you will need are in Brightspace. If you come to class in person, I'll give you hard copies. If you lose those hard copies, or if you're web-based or Zoom only, then all the materials you need are in Brightspace, and you can get them electronically. If you want hard copies, you'll have to print them yourself. Right? So here's a course outline. Let's see. Let's scroll down some more. Let's see. How about like that? Okay. Regular exams. This describes the exams. Now, if the description for the exam has the in-person instructions, and you're only web-based, then you don't have to pay attention to them. You just need to go into Brightspace and start the exam and take it in Brightspace, and you're done. Homework, here are instructions for your homework. This is bonus and extra credits. I've described those to you already. I would encourage you, I will say this. There are only 2 separate assignments that give you extra credit. But most exams, except maybe the first exam, most exams have bonus questions built in, right? So that's a form of extra credit built into the exam. If you find yourself later in the semester in trouble because of low performance in any of the mandatory sections of the course, don't ask me for extra credit, right? Extra credit at that point is not going to help you learn the material. You've got to do your diligence to learn the material. I give you bonus questions as an incentive and to help you if your mind glitches on one of the mandatory questions, then maybe a bonus question will make up the difference. But I don't want to hear anybody asking me for special extra credit assignments. You're not going to get them. All right, so here's the schedule again. It's in the syllabus, and it's also separated in the Brightspace course. So we'll go past that already. We've already talked about that. And let's see. If you show face-to-face, then these are school policies and my policies regarding attendance and potential misconduct. right? If you're in class, of course, I can watch you while you're taking exams. If you're taking exams in lockdown browser and respond as monitor, then there will be, your activities will be recorded, right? There's an eye in the sky watching you while you're taking the exam. And I can review those videos to see if there are any anomalies there. The vast majority of my students are very honest, and they want to learn the material and get the grade that they deserve and earn for that material. So cheating is rarely a problem. It does crop up occasionally, but if you just master the material, the exams and homework will take care of themselves. Makeup testing, if you're purely web-based in this HighFlex course, then makeup testing is irrelevant, right? You're going to take the test when you're going to take it. If you prefer face-to-face, then makeup testing would probably be in the form of, all right, you missed that exam face-to-face, go into Brightspace and take it in the lockdown browser. If I grade a test, now of course, there are various ways that you can let me know that you think a mistake has been made. If I grade it, in fact, if you take the test in person, I will grade that test before you leave the room. You will have your grade on that test before you leave the room. That way you know what needs to be worked on immediately. If you take the test in Brightspace using lockdown browser, then the system will grade it for you, and you'll know your score then, and it'll tell you which ones you missed. If you think that there's been a mistake, then contact me, either in person or and mark on your exam, if you have a hard copy, mark on your exam in any color but red where you think the mistake was made, and give it back to me, and I'll take a look at it. If you think a mistake has been made in the lockdown browser version, then you need to contact me by email and give me explicit directions as to where to find the error so I can check it. And I'll respond telling you, yes, that's a problem. That was an error. Or no, you interpreted the question incorrectly, and the answer that's given is the correct one if you missed it. Okay, exam etiquette. Everybody knows how to behave during an exam. If you're taking the exam in Brightspace using the lockdown browser and Respond as Monitor is looking at you, then you need to be dressed appropriately, right? You're not laying in your bed in your underwear. You're sitting at a table with your laptop in front of you and the camera watching you, and you're in a room by yourself. There are no animals. There are no small children. There are no distractions whatsoever while you're taking that exam. Just like you would be in class, there are no distractions. And you're dressed appropriately to be in public. So that's the kind of behavior I expect from my students, whether they're face-to-face or online. If you're in the middle of taking the exam in Brightspace through lockdown browser, and you lose your internet connection, or your power goes out, as you take the exam, you have the option of saving each of your answers. So I'd advise you to do that. Don't submit and exit the exam. Just be sure that your answers have been saved. Then, if I need to reset it, when your power comes back on and you let me know that that happened, then I can reset the exam so you can take it. Actually, I think what happens is if your power comes back on and you log back into the system and you restart the exam, it'll pick up where you left off. But in the event that your answers are not saved, and I have to reset the exam and delete anything that you've submitted so far, then you need to have some way to know what your answers were. Otherwise, you've got to rework them again. So those are just hazards of online testing. Okay, there's some tips for success. Here's how to communicate with me. I'm going to let you read that. I encourage you to read the entire syllabus. I know it's 17 pages long. I know it can be boring. But if you look at the syllabus as a contract, this syllabus tells you what is required of you to pass the course. It also tells me what's expected of me as your instructor. All right, so it's a two-way, it's a contract. Here are my office hours, how to get in touch with me. If you need to download Zoom and put it on your computer, or you need to go to, let's see, what is that for your cell phones? iPhone has one. I don't know iPhones. Let's see, here we go. Play Store. So if you've got a Android phone, then the Play Store, you can find this Zoom app for your phone if you want it. And then these give you instructions on how to connect with me during office hours. But you can also, if you have the ID for the course and the code, then you can connect with your phone. I don't have a special code for, I only have the ID, right? So you don't have a code for connecting with me during office hours. All right, I have an appendix here. This talks about Cengage homework, right? And what to expect there. This is respondents monitor and lockdown browser, right? That gives you some instructions there. And 3, this is how you attend class using Zoom. So there's the ID and the passcode for this class. This is specific for this class, or you can highlight this, and you may have to highlight it. I wonder if, I don't think you could. No, you can't directly connect here, so you'd have to copy and paste into your browser to get that one to work. All right, so that's the syllabus, all 17 pages of it. All right, so we've got about an hour left. And since there's nobody online now, what I'm going to do is, let's see, log out. Let's see. Let me stop the share first. Stop the share. There we go. And then off camera, I'm going to go back and log out of, there we go. All right. So that was the introduction. Let me change my heading here. This is going to be Chapter 1. There we go. Okay. All right. Oops. Get back centered. Quarter is a little tight here in my office. Okay. So according to the schedule, we're going to cover Chapter 1. And in order to do that, I want to share the PowerPoints. So let me share my PowerPoints, which I just have to find them. Here we go. I've shared my PowerPoints. Now I'm going to turn it into a slideshow. There we go. This slide set was made from a company supplied set for the 7th edition. Right, so I've had these for quite a while, and I've modified them so much, I don't want to change. Right, I don't want to go get their new versions and then have to modify them again. So I just keep this slide set, and this is what the 7th edition used to look like. Right, so I always start off with a funny. Everybody knows that is Grumpy Cat, who has passed away. But he and his owners were very, very wealthy as a consequence. Right? His expression is perfect. He had a condition called feline dwarfism. Right? So he really wasn't grumpy, but it's a perfect picture. All right. So this is I assume this is your first exposure to chemistry. Right? Maybe you had some in high school, which would be to your advantage. And this first chapter, we're just going to do an introduction, right? And then next time we meet, chapter 2 and chapter 3, I'll do both of those on the same day because we'll have 2 hours to do it. There should be time. All right. So see, we have very few topics to cover, right? So I can ramble on if I want. All right. What is it about? And actually, when we ask why is chemistry important, that's assuming that you understand what chemistry is. Right? Chemistry is a very broad scientific umbrella, and it is basically, in its the simplest form, chemistry is the study of substances, right, that you find in the natural world and how they transform from one substance to another. Right? From that point on, chemistry branches out into dozens of different specialties. Right? So why then would chemistry be important? Well, if we're studying substances and how they change, if we understand how they change into new substances, then we may be able to eventually create substances of our own, engineered at the atomic level to provide us with the functionality that we desire. Right? Up to before modern times, how did humans modify their environment? Right? Well, they had to take natural substances and reform them somehow. Right? They'd take stone and build buildings, or pack mud together with a little straw and make bricks and build them that way, or cut down a tree, chop it up into the right shapes to make your house or make your furniture or do whatever. Right? So we were still working with natural materials. Nowadays, ever since the modern time, and especially since the invention of polymers, plastics, we've been able to engineer substances at the molecular level. Right? So we can make new materials. And among those new materials, for our health, for our quality of life, are pharmaceuticals. We can make drugs that cure disease, prevent disease, improve health generally, right? Very often that comes in the form of dietary supplements. And even modify, through pharmaceuticals, modify cells. Right? That becomes an ethical controversy there, so we won't go into that. We can develop new energy sources. Right? Without energy, everything stops. Right? If the sun just miraculously went dark, right? Its mass is still there, right? So the planet's still orbit, but it just went dark, right? Without exploding, of course. Then what would happen? Right? All life on Earth would eventually cease to exist, because the sun is the primary source of energy for all living processes on the planet. There are some exceptions, right? We still have some. Well, I shouldn't say all life will cease. All complex life would cease. There are microbial examples and some multicellular forms of life that are dependent upon other energy sources, like energy coming from the interior of the Earth, right? We call them chemotrophs, right? They use other chemical transformations to extract energy, right? But for the most part, humans definitely would cease to exist within just a few years, right? New energy sources. Our economy, the world's modern economy, is dependent solely upon energy, right? We have various sources of energy. As we entered the modern age, the industrial age, we depended on fossil fuels, right? Primarily coal. Up to that point, we'd been burning wood, making charcoal for other purposes, but that as a limited resource. When we found fossil fuels, then the Industrial Revolution came as a consequence. There are other sources of energy, right? What we call green sources, right? Solar energy, wind energy, even capturing the force of tides, movement of ocean waters to extract energy. There are other chemical sources of energy. There's nuclear energy, okay? And those all came about through the understanding of chemical processes. And much of this energy is used to produce food, right? Energy from the sun, of course, makes the plants grow, but we also need energy to produce supplements for the plants, right? The only reason that we can feed 6.5 billion people on this earth now is because we have mastered certain technologies that allow us to grow more food on smaller acres, less ground to produce more food, right? That comes in the form of genetic modification of crops, supplemental forms of nutrition, fertilizer we call it, and other types of chemicals that are used for weed control and other insect and non-insect pests, right? To make the yields higher. And that's all predominantly due to understanding of chemical processes. Since the 60s, we've been concerned about environmental pollution. Some of the pollution is real. There's no doubt about it. There have been various things like oil spills, chemical spills into our rivers, mining practices in West Virginia have produced environmental hazards in our flowing stream, our streams, rivers, and lakes. So the pollution problem is real. It's just not as big as some people would like to tell you it is. But understanding chemistry and why these pollutants are especially toxic and how to remediate them is another rather lucrative branch of chemistry. You may be able to think of others, but those are some major ones. All right. We're going to learn various principles of chemistry so that we can master not only understanding the processes that occur, but maybe even manipulating those processes to suit us and solve problems, right? That's key to chemistry. We have a problem. Maybe it's mathematical. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not quantitative. Maybe it's qualitative. But solving problems is central to what we do in chemistry. All right, there's the definition of chemistry. Your authors chose that one. I gave you a slightly different one, but they're essentially the same. Chemistry is also often viewed as the central science. In other words, all other sciences feed off of chemistry. Now, if you talk to a physicist, they would tell you that chemistry is just applied physics. But before they get too puffed up, a mathematician would tell the physicist that physics is just applied math, right? So everybody has their favorite branches. But understanding chemistry will help you understand other sciences. My bachelor's degree is in biology, and I understood from the very beginning that I would need, and the program insisted, but I would need at least a basic understanding of chemistry to help me understand biology. And I've taken chemistry courses through all my undergraduate and graduate degrees to help me understand what's going on. All right. So I mentioned problem solving. That's an essential skill. Problem solving in the sciences is a special set of overarching steps, we might say, that helps you get from the problem to the answer, to the solution. In fact, the scientific approach is a subset of critical thinking. And I sum up critical thinking in just one phrase: it ain't necessarily so. If you understand that, and then you can think critically about any problem that's presented to you, whether it's scientific or social or political, right? When people walk into the voting booth, most people vote with their emotions, or they just want to get in and get out, right? Do you recognize the name of anybody on the ballot, right? Vote for that person, right? Critical thinking demands that you learn, you get your facts, right? Your facts about, say you're going into the voting booth, you want to know facts about the person. What promises have they made? What experiences do they have? Have they kept their promises in the past? All these various things requires work, right? To get to the truth, get to the facts. Then you can draw conclusions. Without facts, your conclusions are worthless. Right? So, first in the sciences, first thing we have to do is, what is the problem? Right? State the problem clearly, right? Maybe it's a mathematical problem, maybe it's not, but state it so that you understand what problem is being solved. Why are you trying to solve this problem? If you know what the question is, then you're on your way to getting the answer. So in order to get the answer, you need facts. Usually you make an observation, right? With an observation, if you're a curious person, an observation in the natural world will immediately ask the question, why does it happen? Well, now that you state the problem and you've observed, then you propose a method to solve the problem. In the sciences, we call that formulating a hypothesis. A hypothesis is simply a statement of what you think is the actual solution to the problem. In other words, if I see a blue sky, right? If I see a blue sky, I'm wondering, why is the sky blue? So I formulate, this is where brainstorming comes in, and reading other scientific works and your experience and your training come into play. You develop what you think is a reasonable hypothesis. Say, okay, I think the sky is blue because somebody spilled blue dye up there in the clouds, and now it's making the sky blue. Okay? That may sound silly, but some hypotheses are going to be wrong. Right? So then once you've got your hypothesis, you want to devise a way to test your hypothesis. How would I know if my hypothesis were true? Right? You need a series of steps or a plan. That's better, a plan to investigate your hypothesis. That requires performing an experiment. So how would I go and find out if the sky is blue because somebody put a blue dye up there? Well, you probably have to sample it, right? You need some way of sampling the air or the clouds above and then bringing them back to Earth and testing them to see, is there a blue dye in there? Well, that was a silly example, right? If we go test that, we find out, no, there's no blue dye there. So my hypothesis would be wrong. So that means I would have to go back and develop another hypothesis based upon the fact that my first hypothesis was proven false. All right. Now, this type of thinking is, like I mentioned earlier, is not just something that you learn for sciences and then you put it on a shelf and forget about it. If you learn how to solve problems in the sciences, you become more acute. You become better at critical thinking, at problem solving in everyday life. All right. So this science, which actually is derived from a Greek word for truth or knowledge, depending on its usage, it could be one or the other. But modern science has become a framework for gaining and organizing knowledge. So it could look differently to a pure physicist, a theoretical physicist, or a biologist, or simply someone who wanted to classify, say, butterflies, right? A scientific method would look a little different for each of those persons. So it has to be a framework that's flexible enough so that any one of those persons can access the process. So typically speaking, the science involves procedures for gathering, for proposing solutions, gathering information, testing your solutions, and then cycling through it again until you arrive at a reasonable explanation for the problem and a solution to the problem. Now, one essential in modern science is that you publish. You tell others what you think, what you've done, and the results, and what you think about the results. Right? Where are these results leading you? And you publish them. And you get other scientists, particularly those that are working in your same field of investigation, to critique your work and say, this is good, that's not so good, it would be better if you did this. You know, get advice. And then when you publish your work, you make it, you explain what you did with enough detail so that anyone else can repeat your work and hopefully produce the same results. If they can't produce the same results, then your method is in trouble. Okay, that's called peer review. Your peers are called upon to review your work and to validate your processes. Right? That's how we build a body of knowledge over the decades, over the centuries. We build upon the work of others before us and next to us, and actually build up a better picture of the natural world. All right, so the scientific method, this is a rough framework of how the scientific method usually works. All right. First thing you need, as I mentioned earlier, usually an observation is required. And once you observe something, your curiosity says, how is that happening? Or why does it happen? And you develop your hypothesis and perform an experiment. And then the results of your experiment tell you that you might need more observations. And you may need to modify your hypothesis. So that goes around and around and around. And eventually, you develop an understanding of how things are going to, how one observation is going to lead to a result. And every time you make that observation, you get the same result. Right? And if you can state that in some form, that when this happens, when A happens, B is the result, then you can write a law. And a law makes no attempt to explain why something happens. It just says it happens this way every time. Right? I mentioned the hypothesis already, a possible explanation for your observation. And then usually the process leads to a law first, and maybe several laws that explain what's happening when you have these parameters nailed down and you move from A to B. If you have several of those laws, and it's occurred over a period of time, and other researchers have used them, you may encounter a scientist who has an idea of why the laws work. The laws work because such and such. Then you may be able to develop a theory. And a theory goes beyond the law by explaining why something happens. The power of why is in the ability to predict the outcome when changes are made to the beginning conditions, right? A law just says these conditions lead to this outcome. But if we change those conditions, the law can't tell us what the outcome is going to be. Only the theory can do that. All right. So once a theory has been made, and many times the theory is accompanied by a model, right? I'll have to explain what a model is in just a minute. But it's able to predict an outcome with significant changes to the starting conditions. And then you conduct another experiment to see if your theory has explained the outcome sufficiently so that with the changes that you make, the prediction is accurate. If the prediction is not accurate based upon your experiment, then you may have to go back and modify the theory. Right? I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Which of the following steps in the scientific method is missing from the following situation? So here's a chance for us to see, with this description, Are there any steps in the scientific method that are missing? All right. Your instructor, that's me. I'm holding a balloon and quickly inhale some of the gas inside the balloon. So you probably know where this one's going. I start to speak. I start to speak in a high-pitched voice. And it sounds funny. Your instructor then asks you to determine what gas was inside the balloon that I inhaled. Based on your observations, you conclude that the gas must be helium. Right? So we have an observation. Where's the hypothesis? You drew a conclusion without a hypothesis, right? Did we state the problem? Did we make observations? Did we formulate a hypothesis? Did we perform experiments? So which ones are missing from this process, right? Well, we definitely didn't perform an experiment. We jumped right to saying it's helium, right? We did make observations, right? We noticed that my voice was elevated in pitch. Formulate a hypothesis. Actually, I don't think we formulated a hypothesis either, right? So maybe I need another box around that one, because the hypothesis says, oh, okay, hold everything. You believe, based upon your observations, that the gas is helium. That's your hypothesis. But we can't confirm it with experiment. Okay, there we go. So the only thing missing here is no experimentation to prove that your hypothesis is correct, that you think it's helium. Okay. In learning chemistry, we have to learn the vocabulary. And well, I've already given you a starting point there. Learn the chemical symbols for the elements. So that's beginning learning your vocabulary. We have to memorize some information, not all of it. We learn some information, some facts. We learn some processes for solving particular types of problems. And then we need to practice. I often tell my students, particularly in my face-to-face classes, you have two best friends in chemistry. One is curiosity. If you have a curious nature, if you always want to know what's happening, how it's happening, why it's happening, then that's your first step to becoming a good scientist, becoming a good chemist. Your second best friend in my courses is boredom, because I give you lots of problems to work. There are review documents that I don't recall showing you those review documents, but they're in Brightspace. Work those problems. Work as many as you can. Work as many different problems as you can. If you get bored working a particular type of problem, that means you probably know it pretty well. And if you're presented with a problem like that in the future, you will have the ability to formulate a solution and work the problem. So curiosity, boredom. Learn from your mistakes. That's why I like to return exams to my students before they leave the room, because you can't fix the problem until you know what it is. So your mistakes tell you where you're weak, where you need to focus attention. And then ask questions. Ask questions of yourself. Ask questions of the authors of the textbook and look for the answers. Ask questions of me whenever you have an opportunity, whenever you need an answer. If you have tried and tried and tried to understand a concept or work a particular type of problem and you still can't get it, come to me with that problem and I'll help you work through it. There's one type of question that I cannot answer, is that when you come to me and say, I don't understand, that's not specific enough. I can't help you. If you say, I don't understand how this problem goes from those conditions to that answer, then I can help you. You'll become more comfortable with chemistry the more you work with it. Familiarity produces comfort. Work as many problems as you can to become comfortable. All right, so that is chapter 1. And we've got roughly a half hour left. But since there's no one here to ask me questions, I'll call it a day. Let's see, while I'm here, let me go back and share my browser. Let's see. Yes. And be sure, I want to be absolutely certain you're going to watch me go into My New River, log in, and this is one thing, you have multi-factor authentication. Since the last security breach we had, we now have to be more secure with our logins. Okay, so let's go to the course. Let's see, find my course. Let's see, 100, here it is. All right, let me be a student. Here we go. Go to content. And let's go down to, let's pick module 4. Let's go down to review documents. Yes, we didn't stop for the review documents and show you everything. Okay, you'll also find in review documents a PDF file. And this PDF file, let's just open it up. Notice, if you came to class to take an exam, the exam would look exactly like this. So I create my review documents to look like an exam. Many of my students take these review documents and work them as if they're an exam, and then go back and I'll show you the key, check their answers, and then go back and work on the problems they missed. And if they can work every problem in this review document, you will ace every exam you take. All right. So there's the review document, and notice that in order to use these fillable forms, it's probably better if you download the document. Download it, open it up in your Adobe Acrobat, and then you can fill in your answers here. And as I understand it, the new versions of Adobe Acrobat Reader allow you to save your work. Okay, let's go back and I'll show you where the key is. All right, so here's the key for that document right here. Let's see, click it again. There we go. So you got the same document. Notice I threw this one out. The reason I threw that one out was we're covering a subject here that you've not been introduced to yet. I don't know how it slid in there, but that one had to be thrown out. But here are the answers, right? So you can check your answers if you use the review document like that. Okay? And there's one other document in here I want to show you. If you find that some of these problems you missed and you can't figure out why you missed them, how to work them properly, then go to this document. This one takes the review document, and for most of the problems, maybe not all of them, but most of them, I work those problems, right? Out by hand. So there's the problem number, and there's how it's worked out, right? Notice for this, we're balancing equations. So balancing equations, you'll find out later, we have multiple steps. And if I just showed you this without telling you which steps came when, you wouldn't understand what's going on. So I number them in order. So this one, number 1, this is the first step. I put a 2 in front of that one. And then I go down here and change that value. And then the second step is I put a 3 in front of that one. And then 3 over here, I change those. 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, right? So that tells you the order of the process. So this is my handwritten copy. And if you came to class in person, you would get a hard copy of this. I'd print it, and the school would pay for the printing costs. But if you do this at home, you'll have to look at it electronically, or you'll have to foot the bill for printing it. Okay. Like I said, all of them are not. All of these work problems, every number in the review document's not covered. Usually, if it's just a matter of memorizing something, then there's no need to do a worked problems, because you just have to memorize it. Okay, so that's what I missed earlier in review documents. Let's go back. Documents, come on, there we go. Sometimes I have other things in here, like this one for balancing chemical equations, solubility rules, solubilities of ionic compounds. Those are supplementary materials. Usually, though, the review document, let's go back to this one again. Notice that it looks like an exam. And also, if you go to the very bottom, scroll down to the bottom, here we go, useful information. So at the end of the review document, at the end of every exam, are these pages with useful information. I give you this information so that you don't have to memorize it. Right? You do have to know how to use it. So if you're only going to take exams in Brightspace using Lockdown Browser, you will have a separate document with just these pages, right? Useful information. Print those pages. Then when you enter the exam, you'll have those pages next to you that you can reference. Okay? That's where they came from. If you were taking the exam in person, you would have them there with the exam. Okay, I think that's all that I missed. That's a very important, module that I missed there. Yes, we covered everything else that you need. All right, so that's it. Stop the share. And if the snow is gone by Thursday, we'll meet in person on Raleigh campus, room 134. And I will Zoom that meeting like I'm doing here, only I'll be in a classroom setting. And you can attend that way, or you can stick with web only if that's what you want. But if at any time during the semester you feel the need for a personal contact, you can come to class, or you can Zoom in, and you would have me live and able to ask questions while we're covering the material. Right? That's the beauty of HighFlex. It's flexible. You can come and attend any way you want, and you could submit, even if you're face-to-face, you can submit works in Brightspace. All right, that's enough for today. We've got 15 minutes left, and I'm done. So we'll see you again later.